This was a document that I was sent back in March, or actually the beginning of April in 2019. The document is dated March 28th, 2019. But this was sent to me by a friend of mine who was from South Africa, who then traveled to New Zealand and then traveled to Australia, and was present at a seminar or a meeting in Australia where this document was presented or created years ago. I'm not going to say the individual's name, but they know who they are if they're out there watching. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to do forensics on 2 pages of this document to prove a point that I have made time and time again. It's my viewpoint and my position that :Russell-J::Gould does not have closure on correct sentence structure, communication, parsing, syntax, grammar, on quantum grammar. That his positional sequencing, his concatenation is incorrect. The mathematical interface that is supposedly inherent in quantum grammar, or supposed to be inherent, meaning the facts maintain the same value forwards as they do backwards, is not in his grammar because of incorrect positional sequencing. He puts particles of negation in the facts, and the syntaxing is, while it's probably about 75%-ish there are many mistakes in his syntax. And I've been saying this for years and years. And all his cult followers can say is that I'm not authorized to use whatever I'm doing here, the flag or whatever. And my contention, and I've never been challenged on this, my contention is this: if you claim to have a correct sentence structure, communication, parse, syntax, grammar, copyright, copy claim on a correct grammar flag, number one, wouldn't you have to have closure on the grammar yourself and be able to prove it by your performances, i.e. a document like this in the public? And number two, wouldn't you have to show a grammatically correct claim? Because I've never seen one. At least not written by this individual or anyone else, actually. So the 2 pages I'm going to go over, I'm going to point out to you, but right now I just want to show you the entire document. I'm going to try and scroll down as slow as I can to show you. All right. There's no way that I would do this whole thing because there's not really a point. So the first page that you saw, I'm going to be looking at that page, the cover page. And then I'm going to be looking at this page right here for the syntaxing. So you may want to go back to the beginning, take a screenshot of the cover page with the flags on it, and enlarge that so you can see what, in case you can't see what I'm doing on my screen in the segment to follow, and also take a screenshot of this one so that you can get it, because there are numbers on here. You know, someone has written syntaxing, they put a syntax key and put numbers on here, but it's really hard to see. You should be able to see it in the segment coming up, but if not, take a nice clear screenshot and you can zoom it out or zoom it in and see what I'm doing here. And that is the whole thing. Now you see in the context of a document, contract, postal vessel, court venue, this is your standard format. You could be learning how to format your document right now. The evidence comes at the end. And you see here they have stamped evidence right here, colon, evidence, colon. Folks, a vowel in front of a consonant means no contract at the beginning of a word. So we have a particle of negation in this word here. So that is not correct sentence structure because it has not been presented with the correct mechanics. And not only that, there's a dangling participle colon at the end here. There would need to be a full stop here at the end, not another colon. In any case, I digress. I'll get into all that later. But here is the evidence, the syntax, the fiction document, that type of data and information. The envelope is included in the evidence. And then this is the end of the correct sentence, we'll say quantum gobbledygook document. Russell's best effort at creating quantum grammar. So let's get on to the forensics. So folks, I'm going to do the best I can to do some forensics on this particular document, which is, I guess, a Global Postal Employment Service Treaty, a salvage tow with the CSS GP on the foreign Australia flags. I'm going to do this page of it, and then I'm going to do this page of it. So I'm going to look at the correct sentence structure, or quantum gobbledygook as I call it, and then also some of the syntaxing. And this is all done by Russell-J. Gould. This is dated March 28th, 2019. So first off, we're looking at these flags up here. Now, in Army Regs 840-10, if you're looking at flags, the flag that takes jurisdiction over all the other flags is going to be here. And this gives closure to this flag as Title IV DCCS, whatever that is. I don't know. One thing I do know is it's not the correct sentence structure, communication, parsing, syntax, grammar flag, because of the extra P here. So it's something different. So it's not the flag that I use. All right. And then we have these flags. Now, this may be nitpicking, but with flag protocol, why would you have these on the same level as this? Why wouldn't you have them under it? Flag protocol. And then usually the postage would go in the upper starboard side corner. However, they have put the postage here, which, again, nitpicking isn't important. Well, you can format the document however you want to. I mean, really. So let's dig into this. I'm going to try and zoom in here so you can see what I'm going to be doing. All right. Right away. I'm looking at formatting. I'm looking at colons. I'm looking at spacing. Right here. Big space in between the colon and the quote-unquote compound fact that comes after it. Not to mention that it is centered. It's not left justified. And you will see a lot of spacing in between some of the words because they have left and right justified it, which as long as you give closure to that in the document, is perfectly fine to do that. And then we have a dangling participle colon here, because look what comes after that colon. Another colon. So theoretically we have of the Global Postal Employment Service Treaty with the of the salvage tow. So there's no fact that comes after this. So what is this? A dangling participle colon. Now we have this positional on. All right. So what is the main claim of correct sentence structure, communication, parse, syntax, grammar, grammatically? It's that the facts maintain the same value forwards as they do backwards. And they do this via positional sequencing and congruency. So there are 4 positionals. 4 of, with, and by. 4 is congruent with by, of is congruent with. And that simply means that when you write a sentence, when you read it forwards, for the facts, of the facts, are, with the facts, by the facts, period. You read it backwards, it says the same thing. And the word facts maintains the same value. For becomes by, of becomes with. What does on become when you read it backwards? And we have another dangling participle colon there, another one here. Let's read that backwards. Gold troy ounce treaty, Australia fee freight postage stamp with the dry dock vessel. Oh, I can't even do it. My point being, what does on become? Off. So it becomes off the foreign Australia flags. So going forwards, the salvage tow is on the foreign Australia flag. Going backwards, the foreign Australian flag is off of the salvage tow. So it means completely the opposite going forward. So this fact, foreign Australia flags, the value of it changes, i.e. is modified when you read it backwards. So therefore, this positional is not correct. With correct sentence structure, communication, parse, syntax, grammar, 1 and 1 is 1. 1 word, 1 meaning, 1 value, 1 congruency. For is congruent with by, of is congruent with. For is the cause, of is the concern or consequence, with is possessive, by is authority. What is on? What is on congruent with? Most people would say off. And what is its function? It can't be the cause, it can't be the concern, it can't be the possessive, it can't be the authority. So what is it then? We don't know. So all down the line here, the spacing from the colon is incorrect. Then we have another positional, as. What is congruent with as? I deemed it important enough to insert this little section here in the auditing portion of the video because of a couple things that I saw as I was editing the video. So I draw your attention to the section that starts with the colon space and then mail hyphen location hyphen tilde 419 hyphen 17 colon space mile hyphen road comma space hyphen tilde Arapahoe hyphen tilde Wyoming hyphen tilde 82510 full stop. I draw your attention to specifically the mile hyphen road comma, space, tilde, hyphen, Arapaho. Folks, what is the function of a hyphen in correct sentence structure? A hyphen is used to create compound facts. In correct sentence structure, 1 and 1 is 1. One word, one meaning, one function. The hyphen is no exception. The hyphen has one function. It's used to create compound facts. You have one fact, you have another fact, put a hyphen in between them, it becomes a compound fact. Okay? 2 sevens become 1 7 when you put a hyphen in the middle there. So what fact is this hyphen tilde in front of Arapaho creating? Nothing. It's not. It is incorrect use of the hyphen. The other thing I'd like to draw your attention to is the sentence below that where it says colon space foreign hyphen tilde and then in italics United States of America and then hyphen passport hyphen number colon space 486979541 full stop. I draw your attention to the italics. Now in the styles manuals, fiction styles manuals, and in the context of correct grammar, italics are not on the page. Doing forensics, it fall under the four-corner rule, just like parentheses, brackets, quotations, cursive. It's not on the page, right? So what are we looking at here in the context of correct grammar? In forensics, we're looking at colon space foreign hyphen tilde, and then United States of America is not there. So then the next thing that we see is, or we consider, is the hyphen before passport. So you have tilde hyphen passport. You have hyphen tilde hyphen passport. Do you see what I'm saying here? That scenario would never exist. Why would you have a tilde in between two hyphens like that? That is incorrect use of both the tilde and of the hyphen. All right, let's continue on with our forensics. This is not correct sentence structure. This is what I would call quantum gobbledygook. So many errors. And there is no positioning in front of this number 0. It's a location, but it has not been positioned with a position loadial phrase. If we're going to credential, i.e. define a fact as something that has a positional and a loadial in front of it to position it, this must not be a fact because it has not been positioned. There are no exceptions. It's rule 1, rule equal across the board. Now keep in mind, anything that's underlined is to be taken as a whole. So we can kind of skim over this. So I could go through and syntax this, but I'm not going to. But this is not correct sentence structure. This is completely adverb, verb, adjective, pronoun, fiction, babble. And these aren't even all the mistakes that are on this document. So let's move on to, let's see how Russell's syntaxing is. So up here we have a syntax key. None of these numbers have been positioned with a colon in front of them. Dangling participle colon, particle of negation, vowel in front of a consonant at the beginning of a word. Which, I mean, the same could be said, dangling participle colon, here, and then pronoun as, no, no, no. This has not been positioned. Look at this word. Misspelled. Participle. What the hell is a participle, Russell? Contract, contra, particle, negation. Anyways. These things could be easily fixed by sicking them. But this is a complete misspelling. So let's look down here. We have an act. Russell has credentialed an as an adjective and act as a pronoun. In what universe could that word be tangible contract? Going by the grammar rules of tangibility versus non-tangibility. An is non-tangible contract. Therefore, it could never be a 3. It could never be an adjective. It could only be an adverb, verb, or pronoun. So in this case, it would have to be an adverb, and act would be a verb. 2, adverb, future tense, declare, verb, a, adverb, certain, adjective, flag, pronoun. 2, adverb, future tense, b, verb, the, adverb, Australian, adjective, national adjective, flag, pronoun, and conjunction. 2, adverb, future tense, make, adjective, other, adjective. In what world is other tangible contract? Other is non-tangible contract, going by the rules of grammar, looking it up in an etymology dictionary and credentialing whether it is tangible or non-tangible contract. Other is non-tangible contract, so it cannot be an adjective. Provision is tangible contract. So make would have to be a verb. So you would have 2, to, which is an adverb in the future tense, modifying make into a verb, and then other would be an adverb modifying provision into a verb, with adverb, respect, verb, 2, adverb, future tense, flags, dangling participle verb. So you may say, how can you have a 1, 3, 4, 0, 1, 2? Well, that's perfectly permissible, because what is a conjunction? It's a neutral condition of state. It's a bridge. In the fiction, as we're doing here, syntax scenarios, it can be a bridge between adverbs, verbs, adjectives, or pronouns, any of the parts of speech there, or it can be a bridge between any of the 5 syntax scenario, which is what it's doing here. It's a bridge between a 1, 3, 4 and a 1, 2. So this is really hard to read, so I'd have to think it's really hard for you to read. And I'm sorry I can't zoom in anymore, otherwise you'd lose it. But I will put this up on my screen on a different section of the video so that you can see it more clearly. So we have be as an adverb, it as an adverb. What the hell? Be is tangible contract. It cannot be an adverb. It would have to be a pronoun. It, adverb, does that say enacted? So enacted cannot be a verb in the past tense, because it's followed by non-tangible contract by, and that's followed by non-tangible contract the. You would never have 2 adverbs in a row. An adverb cannot modify another adverb because it has no tangibility. It's a wisp of a thing. It's pure modification. Adjectives are tangible contract, on the other hand. You can have multiple adjectives because they are constant. They are tangible. Adverbs, no. It's just pure modification. So an adverb cannot modify another adverb. Adverbs would only modify verbs or adjectives. So in this case, enacted would have to be an adjective in the past tense. By would be a pronoun, and then the would be the adverb. Queens, most, excellent, majesty, 3334, okay. The, all right. Look at the inconsistency here. Isn't the, even on Russell J. Gould's adverb sheet, isn't the always an adverb? Isn't it? Look up here. The, adverb. How is it going to be an adjective? It's non-tangible contract. So this is completely incorrect. That would be a 1-2. Conjunction and 0, and then the house. What is that? Does that say 2.8? Why would house be 2.8? I agree it's a verb, but I don't. How is house past tense? Of, adverb, representatives, verb, no. Of, again, you would not have two adverbs in a row, so representatives is wrong. It would have to be a 3, an adjective, because it's tangible. Of would be a pronoun followed by the, which is an adverb. Commonwealth would be a verb. He has it syntaxed as an adjective. The reason why it can't be an adjective is because it's followed by of, which is non-tangible contract. And he has that syntaxed as an adjective. Non-tangible contract words can never be adjectives. So Commonwealth would have to be a verb, of, adverb, Australia, verb. And then as follows, adverb, dangling participle verb. And then we have a long dash here, which he credentials as a break. What's it say? Long dash, omit word between the long dash. So that's why he didn't syntax this part, because he's going from this long dash to this long dash. I'm not going to do that. I feel this is enough for this video to show you the mistakes. And there's many, 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 many more where this came from. All right, so I feel like this is just something that I wanted to put out there. Just to remind you folks that I am not basing what I say about the man and his construct on nothing. I'm not just pulling it out of thin air. There is evidence, and this is the evidence that there is no closure on the grammar here. No closure on the grammar. Mistakes everywhere. And if you notice, I'm telling the author, Russell J. Gould, how to correct these mistakes. I'm telling him why they are mistakes. And I'm giving him a solution to the problem. Because that's rule 1, rule equal. In closing, I just want to clarify my volition in doing an audit video like this. I've done other audit videos on RJG's paperwork that he puts out into the public. The same mistakes appear over and over and over again. Just like David-WYNN Miller and Russell J. Gould have both said in the past, in videos, multiple times, when someone is repeating a mistake over and over and over again, there can only be, 1 or 2 reasons why they're doing it. Number 1, they don't know what they're doing and they don't know they're making the mistakes. Or number 2, it's on purpose. They're doing it on purpose. That's what both Russell and David have said about the fiction. That the fiction system makes hundreds of errors and modifications in their documents, either through ignorance or on purpose. Now, I've been putting audits out on Russell's paperwork for years. Folks, I've been teaching this stuff, correct sentence structure, communication, parsing, syntax, grammar, for over 8 years. And I've been putting videos out for the same amount of time. Audit videos for at least 5 or 6 years. And the same mistakes keep happening over and over. And I'll do an audit video. I'll show the mistakes. I'll explain why they are mistakes, as I did in this video, the one you just watched. And I will also, for Rule 1 Rule Equal maintenance, I will give a solution as to how to fix the mistakes and make it correct within the context of correct sentence structure, communication, parsing, syntax, grammar. Within the context of the 1 by 1.9 grammar flag, Title 4 flag. Those grammar rules. But yet the mistakes, the same mistakes keep being made over and over and over again. I've released this particular video on this particular document because there is another video that was just released on Russell J. Gould's channel that's sort of a documentation of a seminar he did in Australia recently. And although there is no surprise, there's little to no grammar data in the video, which is about an hour long over on his channel. They're talking about the flag and things like that. And so I thought it pertinent, this would be a great time to bring this document up from 2019, which directly has to do with the Australian flag, supposedly. And so that's the connection. And also, I'm putting it out there because some of his followers, his, dare I say, worshipers, have deemed it necessary to come on my channel. Well, this is what you get. And it's really funny to me because when they poke me and they throw their little barbs or whatever, and then I give Kuleana back, I bring that energy back to them, all of a sudden they're like, oh, whoa, you got issues. Really? Is there a damage occurring? No. No. In no way, shape, or form has Russell J. Gould damaged me or anything that I'm doing. How could it? There's no correct grammar there. Okay? So the reason I'm doing this, first and foremost, and overall the major reason I'm doing this, is to show you folks out there, the ones who are serious about learning this grammar, who really want to learn it genuinely, who are open-minded with empty cups, to show them the pitfalls, the landmines that are out there. Don't be afraid to question things. When I first started this, you know, I looked up to David and Russell, David Wynn Miller, Russell J. Gould. I was in awe of them. Just like most of the folks who follow Russell J. Gould now. They all call him Chief and worship the ground he walks on. And they have weekly meetings, probably now in their Patreon, where people pay money to attend a meeting that Russell J. Gould phones in on or is actually there in a video Zoom capacity. And they hang on every word that the guy says. You know, I once had that similar sort of feeling towards him back in 2017, 2018 when I was first starting to get involved in this stuff. But then I started seeing the performances and I began to realize something is off here. And I'm not involved in any of that, so I have no idea the reasons why this is. I don't know. But what I do know is that the grammar is not correct by the standards of correct sentence structure, communication, parsing, syntax, grammar, technology. And I've shown that again and again and again. So anyone out there who wants to levy a criticism to me about the grammar, do it. Because none of you out there, and I'm speaking to the cult followers of Russell J. Gould, none of you out there have shit to say about my grammar. You always pick something else outside of the grammar to criticize or harp on, let's say. So there you have it. There, my little rant is over. I hope you enjoyed this audit video. I hope you learned something from it. There are 1,000+ other free videos on this channel having directly and specifically to do with the wonderful grammar technology known as correct sentence structure communication parse syntax grammar, brought to the public in 1988 by DAVID-WYNN, Miller. And you can study for free. Or you can hit me up at my email address and apply for workshops. But that's only for the super serious people who want to fast track their learning. Otherwise, it's all here on this channel for free to you. Merry Christmas. Que sera, sera.